All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to yet another edition of the Football Trio. It's Friday. It's Friday. We're excited. I know you guys are probably leaving work if you're working in the Eastern time zone and probably heading home right now in traffic. So it's fun. Listen to us, yeah? I'm glad to have you with us today. As always, we have the football encyclopedia in human form. None other than Steve Ajab with me today. Hey, Steve, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. How are you doing today, Nico?
I'm doing good, doing good. It's just you and I today again.
Yeah,
True
yeah, yeah.
able to join us. I'm I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe he's still weeping over the fact that PSG is not in the finals of the Champions League. Who knows? All
That's
right.
that's that's exactly that's exactly my speculation.
All right, True Lion, if you're listening to us, if you can, let us know you're alive. I'm just messing with you, brother. Uh, glad you're doing well. Sorry you can't join us today again. Hopefully we'll be together on Sunday and we can explore or review the weekend's action. But let's talk about this week's action. This week's action. So we now know the teams that will be playing the UEFA Champions League finals, the Europa League finals, and also the European Conference League
Conference
finals.
League finals, yeah.
It goes without say that Real Madrid will be facing Dortmund in London come June 1st for the Champions League. So let's talk about that for a little bit, and then we'll go into the Europa League and then, of course, explore the European Conference League, and then figure out, maybe just talk about how they got here, what the prospects are for them, and who gets to lift the European top honors as time goes. Yeah. So, Ajab, it was an eventful week, very
hmm
eventful week. Started on Tuesday with a shocker, but I think it's something you predicted. Dortmund, you said Dortmund was going to go through.
Yes,
Um,
mhm.
Talk to me
I
a little
said,
bit about that. How do you
yeah,
feel about your prediction
I
right, and
said
everything?
I said PSG has what it takes to make it to the finals, but I think Dortmund will make it to the finals. Like I said, when you play in a team where they have no star man, like no player to watch, you don't know exactly how to play them unless you really prepared up there. And I think mentally, the Dortmund team was very ready. Like I said, they don't have anyone you can really count on. And if you see the way they play, they defend as a block. Everyone
Mm.
is defending. Ayedemi is giving everything to help Matson because he knows PSG are very pacey from the wings. The same thing up from Sancho was giving the same thing on the right side. Sancho giving Ryerson everything he could do from a defensive point of view to ensure that Mbappe doesn't excel. And Ryerson was so close to Mbappe. Sancho
Yeah.
also helping with the double up game. So it really helped them. In the midfield, Emre Can and Sabisa too were tireless with Julian Brandt not only playing as a number 10, but as a second number 8, doing the defensive work, doing the offensive work. Fulkrug was a little bit isolated up front this time around as opposed to the home game. And from nowhere, Matt Hummels gets the goal that gives them that extra advantage because coming into the game and maybe we leading 1-0 from the away game, waiting until maybe let's say you have to wait until you just have to defend all through the game. They came into the second half and they decided to get again another goal. So you know PSG needs 2 goals to come back into the game. So that helped them. And if you notice the way Dortmund played, even though Dortmund sat back, but the defenders were not really in a panic mode or any pressure. They were winning all the duels and they win. I think PSG didn't really have the game. They were spending most of the time passing the ball around like they won the away game. They didn't really play like they really wanted to win that game. And that's
Mhm.
typical of Luis Enrique. Even when he played for Spain, there was a match Spain played in the World Cup. Was it against Morocco or against who? I think they had like 8 times more touches than the opponent.
The
But they
opponent.
didn't score. But they didn't score a goal. So that's typical of Luis Enrique. I love
Mm.
Luis Enrique as a coach. I thought he's trying to build up something for PSG without the stars or again at post Mbappe PSG. But he has to change. He has to change the way he does things.
And
The
there is
passing
something,
around, passing the ball about without any real threat. It's
any
not
real
good.
result, basically.
Yeah, and threat. No, you could even know win the game, but you have like even though we could say yeah, PSG were a little bit unlucky because they
They
had
were
about
unlucky. Yeah, there was.
three
I
or four
want to
shots.
talk about that. I want us to talk about that.
They had
There was,
about 3 or 4 shots hit the goalpost, but still the defense, the back line of the PSG, the Dortmund center back line, that's Schlottenberg and and what's his name, Matt Hummels. They didn't really have that pressure like they
Mhm.
playing against. If you notice the way Eric Dyer and the other guy they lead, they were on, even though Madrid played without the striker, but they were under pressure. If
Yeah,
you even notice,
let's finish with PSG.
no,
Then
I was just no, I was just trying to say
I know
that.
you want to
Yeah,
draw
that's
some
how.
parallels.
Yeah,
That's why you're going
I
there.
just wanted to draw
But
a comparison.
before
So
you go there,
yeah.
let me just interrupt. I want to talk about the fact that PSG, were they really unlucky, or is it something where is it a situation of Dortmund just being better? Because if you look at the stats tell a different story, right? PSG controlled a lot of the game. They
Hmm.
had way more touches in the Dortmund box. The 70% possession versus 30% possession. Field tilt was I'm looking at it right now. Field tilt was at I think 80 to 20%. It just so happened that they were not at their best. I mean, they hit the woodwork four times, like you said,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, but there were also more shots taken or attempts on goal. And you're right. When we look at the passing, you know, PSG had I think 600 and or 589 passes versus Dortmund's 229.
It's typical of PSG,
Yeah,
yes.
typical of Enrique's
Mm.
style. Which but now I want us to talk about a little bit about Matt Hummels. He just showed up, the unlikely hero in this game. Even though the Adeyemis and the other folks did a lot of the work, Julian Brand, Sabitzer, they did a lot of the work. But somehow Matt Hummels pops up with the goal that puts this berth away.
Yeah.
And let's segue into Mbappe. He announced today that he's going to be leaving PSG, something we all knew.
Hmm.
It's been speculated a lot, and he finally said it today. So good luck to Mbappe in his next endeavors. But what are your thoughts, though? Is this really one of those situations where PSG could have done it, but they were just not on their day?
Yeah, especially against, I would say, a weaker um, uh,
One side.
Dortmund side, because when you look at all the four teams that made it to the Champions League semi-finals, on paper, Dortmund was like the weakest amongst the four of them.
Mhm.
So PSG would have taken advantage of that fact that they played Dortmund as opposed to Bayern Munich or Real Madrid and make it to the finals. And then, but um, both home and away, Mbappe didn't show up. At least I could give him a pass on the away game that he was played out of position. Mbappe is not actually a striker. He's been very comfortable and
Mhm.
very convincing when he plays from the wings, especially the left wing. He was played as a striker for a few games and he didn't really show. So I thought this time around when he goes to and if you remember last week when we had the preview, I said I was foreseeing that Enrique was going to use Ramos as a striker and then
As a
Dembele on the
striker,
right,
yeah,
Mbappe on the left, and it
yeah,
happened. But yeah,
exactly.
Ramos didn't show up. That's one of the reasons I said the centre back pairing for Dortmund were not, even though PSG controlled the game, but the centre back pairing for
So,
Dortmund
but I
they
mean,
didn't have any pressure. But let's go back to Mbappe. I thought even though I wanted Dortmund to make it to the finals, I thought this would have been a good opportunity for Mbappe, even if he doesn't win, at least make it to the finals.
the finals, yeah.
Yeah, even if he doesn't win,
Yeah,
he's been
because
proving himself. Even though he hasn't won the Champions League, but if you notice, he's always played well at the big stages in the Champions League. Even though he
yes,
doesn't make it to the finals, like I said, if he doesn't make it to the finals, I wouldn't blame him. There are 11 players. He shows up, and maybe four or five other players don't show up, and they don't make it. People will say, "Hey, Mbappe, not a small player," but he can do everything, right? So let's hope he goes to a team that would finally give him that Champions League trophy because he's probably that's maybe one of the things that he needs to take to at least
to
make it
the next level.
stay
Yeah,
stay stay
but
up stay up there. Yeah,
yeah, talking about Dortmund though, let's go back to Dortmund. Dortmund was a runner up in the Champions League in 2012 and 2013 season, right?
yeah.
Um,
2012 to
they
18, they lost to Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they lost to Bayern.
Hmm.
And in that the year before that, they were like powerhouses in the Bundesliga,
They
winning the
won the
league.
league. Yeah,
Yeah,
with Jurgen
exactly.
Klopp.
And
Yeah.
so there's much to say about this team that seems to always sell its biggest stars, but somehow always has the recycling. Like they have this factory which produces stars after every time every season, even if they ship off all their best players. What is to say about the sustainability of this team and of course their coach and
You
his
know,
style? Style.
you know what I think about Dortmund. Dortmund, where they are right now, is a big surprise to them.
Okay.
Teams like Bayern or Madrid not making it to semi-finals, or if Dortmund making it to the quarter or semi-finals,
Was a
would have been an achievement already.
okay.
Making it to the finals is already a very huge achievement.
Okay.
Dortmund won't mind giving away their top players to get that. They already know they don't have the financial muscle to compete with those top teams. So they will look for the ones which are available at the moment, try to make them big, sell them, and then keep their players. Look at the left back. It's a player that Chelsea. He was a fourth choice
Good
left
choice
back
in
at
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
Chelsea
choice.
had to let him go in January. Dortmund gets him. Where is he? And now he's playing the finals of the Champions
Finals.
League. Looking even better than the other left backs. The
Same
other
thing.
left backs
Same
at
thing with the
Chelsea.
other players on their team,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You see,
Sancho
so
and
yeah, and if
it's
and Dortmund is looking to sign him. And if Dortmund signs him and he plays well the next season, and anyone comes for him and they're willing to
they'll
give what
sell him
Dortmund
again.
asks, they sell him and they go look for another one. So they're very comfortable doing that. I think they have a good base. Like they have the scouting. The scouting talent is exceptional. They
Hmm.
don't mind. They get you if you play for 6 months and the team comes and they want you. Even if they're fighting for the league, they will sell you in the January transfer window. They don't care if they don't win the league. That's what I've noticed about Dortmund. They were an inch like this far missing. They lost the league
Missing
on the
out.
last day, and
Yeah. Yeah. That was
their
last
most
year.
yeah, like their the best player, because Jude Bellingham was the best player in the Bundesliga last season. He won the best player. They let him go.
Hmm.
One team will say no, we'll keep Jude and try to win the league, right? But they're like, no, we need the money.
Absolutely.
We got him for how much? 2018. We're selling him for 100. Same thing with
100
Usman.
plus.
Same thing with Dembele.
Yeah. Dembele.
Dembele left
Yeah.
Ren for like 12 million. One season after, Barcelona sells Neymar and they want to get him for 100 million. So they're very comfortable selling those players when you come with the money. They're not the kind of team that say, no, we want to keep these guys and try to win the league. No.
Right.
They
Let,
know
let's talk
Bayern.
about
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
talk about Dembele for a second. He had a tough game. His crosses were not. I mean, he tried. He took what, 6 successful dribbles. He had 2 out of 6 based on his stats here.
Yeah.
Accurate crosses. He tried 16 crosses, got only 3 right. That actually landed on somebody. Didn't win many tackles. He lost a lot of duels. 12 duels. I mean, he was torrid in that game. He came out with a rating, I think, of 6.8%
Yeah.
based on
And
six point
yeah,
eight. Yeah,
prior to
and
that, prior to the return game against Dortmund, he had a fantastic
with Barcelona, yeah,
knockout. Even with Real Sociedad, he had a good game. Barcelona, he had a good game, and then he came to Dortmund. The away game, he was good, even though they didn't win.
yeah,
But the return game, like I said, I still go back to the fact that Adeyemi. That's why I was very surprised when what's his name, Redic? Is it Redic?
Redditch,
Redic, the coach of Dortmund. What's his
mm-hmm.
name? Redic.
Terzic, Terzic,
Tedic.
Terzic,
I was very surprised when he made that earlier sub, bringing in Marcos Rios for Adeyemi in the
Bruce,
50, 55,
yeah.
15 minutes.
I
Was
think
very
Adeyemi
surprised.
got
I
him
thought,
knocked. I think
okay,
Adeyemi got him knocked. That's why.
okay, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense because Adeyemi was tireless and
yeah,
he was the only threat on the counter
yeah,
when
yeah,
Dortmund had the ball against PSG. So and then you take him off and you bring Rios. Rios is good with the ball, but he's not good defensively. And at that point, you need someone who is good both offensive and defensive. So I was
yeah.
surprised. But if you notice, Dembele didn't play, especially the first half of the game. He wasn't able to cope because Adeyemi was always there to help
To help.
Matson with the double up. So that's why
Yeah,
if you notice, Dembele had to bring the
yeah.
ball
Wow.
back and give to
Hakimi,
Hakimi.
yeah,
All the time he had to bring the ball back and give to
Hakimi
Hakimi
kept having, yeah.
because they
The
didn't
ball
even
kept
give
going
him
back to Hakimi. Yeah,
yeah, they
yeah,
didn't even give him the chance to
absolutely.
bring it to his left leg and curl the crosses. They didn't even give him that chance. That's why. So I was very happy with the way Dortmund played. And like I said, these guys they play with passion. They know that they know that maybe we're not supposed to be here, but if we go an extra mile, we're gonna get to the finals.
And
And
they'll get
that's
it.
where they are today. Because
All right. Well,
Dortmund losing the finals is not going to be a problem to them. To the fans. To like
that's
maybe the fans in Germany are different, but to us who are cheering for them and wanted them to make it this far, it's still an achievement making it to
for
the
us.
finals. If Real Madrid wins, Real Madrid are the favorites.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
glad. I'm glad you brought that point up. Let's segue into Real Madrid by Bayern now. That's the other semi-final that took place.
Hmm.
A lot of controversy in that game. We're going to talk about the VAR decision or the offside goal towards the end, but the game was not short of storylines. Bayern came in the second half. Alfonso Davies scored one of those belters that you've only imagined, and on a stage like this, for him to score his first goal
Hmm.
for Bayern in this manner on this stage at the Bernabeu, it was unbelievable. Yeah, But they still lost out on aggregate with two last minute, waning minute, two goals in the waning minutes from a player that nobody really expected would be able to do anything. It almost
You
feels
have to
like
say,
Ancelotti,
you have to
threw
say
him
a
on just
former,
for the
you have
sake
to say,
of
yeah, a
having
former.
bodies up there in the front.
Mhm.
And he came up with the goods. 88 minute and 1 minute after the board went up for injury time, he scored
Mhm.
two goals that saw Real Madrid waltz into the finals. Let's talk a little bit about that game.
A
What did you
former,
see happen? What are your quick thoughts about it, and how do you gauge Real Madrid's performance on that day?
a former Stoke City player scores two goals against Bayern
Yes,
to take Real
the
Madrid to the final.
semifinals of the Champions League.
33-year-old player on loan from Barcelona Espanyol.
Yeah,
Yeah, football,
yeah,
football, football.
it's
So
football.
yes, I never doubted Bayern Munich giving Real Madrid this headache. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes you don't focus on club or league performance. Certain teams, when they get to a certain level of a competition, the only way you could stop Bayern from performing good is get rid of them in the group stage or eight or round of 16. Once they go past that round of 16, teams like that will always give you the toughest time. And they have the players, they have the quality. And Tuchel is not a bad coach. We've seen him. He's played well
Pretty
with
good coach.
Dortmund. He's played well with PSG. He's played well with Chelsea. It's just that things are not going the way. First of all, I think maybe some of the players at Bayern did not endorse him replacing Nagelsmann. So
Yeah,
things are not working. He's been at loggerheads with players like Kimmich, who are some of the leaders in the team. So things didn't just go well with him at Bayern. But Tuchel is a good tactician. He may not be good for league. That takes 30 days. But those cup games, those championships that you need 10 games or 12 games to make it to the finals.
to make it
Watch
happen.
out with,
Yeah,
yeah,
and he's also
watch
an
out, yeah,
enforcer, right? He's also a stickler for rules because he had those
yeah.
same issues at Chelsea, where some of
Mhm,
these big players, quote unquote, did not necessarily want to abide by certain rules, and
mhm,
so he had to put his stamper down, and it kind of caused that friction. That kind of cost him
mhm,
his job in the end.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we're almost seeing the same thing happen here, right?
yeah. So
But that's not to say he's not a good coach.
yeah,
I
yeah,
hear
yeah.
rumors about him going to Man U. Do you think that's
I
necessarily a good move?
He's been even before the Liverpool made a decision. His name was around Barcelona. His name has been around Bayern Munich. I'm sorry, staying at Bayern. His name has been around Barcelona. That's to tell
Mhm.
you that he has what it takes. If you still
Yeah,
have some of those top clubs, even just rumor about him shows that he's still around. So my
mhm.
point is this. Let me go back to the game.
Mhm.
Yeah. Some people blaming Manuel Neuer for
Yeah,
giving away that goal. But some people at the same time forgetting the amount of decisive saves he had
he made.
made before
Yeah,
that goal.
for that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, before that moment. Yeah, I wouldn't say that he messed up. I would say his mistake cost that goal because he had been
Is
fantastic
that
before
necessarily
that
a
moment.
mistake though? Is that a mistake? Because as a keeper, when the ball dips in front of you, you don't know how it's gonna bounce up and
I know someone. Yeah, I know. Sometimes someone will say, "Don't catch, try to punch it out."
yeah.
Some people will say that. So, yeah, some people say no, and then some people say Harry Kane had the chance to kill it, to make it two, and he didn't make it. But this
Let's
is
talk
my
about
point.
Harry Kane then. Let's talk
Yeah.
about Harry
If
Kane.
we go to Hurricane, I finally decided that
He's
the
never gonna win
Hurricane.
a title.
No, the Hurricane curse is true.
It's following him.
If Hurricane signs for Madrid, Madrid is not going to win any titles, any
Yeah.
title, anytime soon. I think there's a curse. There's a Hurricane curse because it doesn't make sense. Even Bayern had been struggling last season. They had to win the league
They still won the league. They still
the
won the
last
league on
day,
the last
and
day.
then you improve your team because no one left. Hurricane came in. He scored
Mhm.
how many goals? Maybe over 40 goals in every
30
competition
plus
this
30,
season.
36 plus goals. 36,
That's
I think.
that's that's
Last
just
year.
the league. That's just
Yeah,
the
that's
league.
the
I mean,
league.
including
36 goals in
Champions
the
League. He's
league.
the top scorer in the Champions League, right?
TF
So he
came
scored
out,
about 40
he
something.
scored. Yep,
But
yep.
still, Bayern goes trophyless. They eliminated in the cup by a third tier team. They eliminated Champions League. They didn't win the league. Yeah, so I think so. There's something wrong. There's something
It's the
around
Spurs curse. It's the Spurs
Hurricane.
curse.
Yeah, there's something around Hurricane. And it's not just the Spurs, but him himself. That's saying there's a curse around. He brings that curse.
He needs to
So
go. He needs to go to
yeah,
the
I don't
Spurs
know.
village.
There's something happening about him.
Something
There's
is
something
happening
happening
there.
around him.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and
So
he's seriously though, seriously, Hurricane is probably the best footballer who is going to go down in history without any of these top honors. Not a World Cup, not a European Cup, not even a Premier League title, not
not even a cup,
just
not even a
not even
Carabao, not even a Carabao Cup.
not even a community shield,
That's
right?
it. Not even a community shield. So that's why I'm saying it's a
And
curse.
it
You
sucks.
know?
It really
Yeah.
sucks because
So
he's so talented. He is so
no,
talented.
he is, he
The
is, he is,
goal,
he is,
the
he
goal
is.
that he Alfonso Davies scored was all Hurricane.
Yes. So
Movement,
that's
attack.
where I want to come back. Some people,
Mhm.
yeah, that's where I want to come back. What I'm saying is this. We'll go back to the game. If you noticed, Rudiger and Nacho,
Yes,
they were all playing in their half of the game on the Madrid side of the game all through the game until they had to sub Musiala and Hurricane
Hurricane.
to bring in Mola and Choupo-Moting, and then those guys became comfortable and they started moving forward. So
Yeah,
I
and
still
that's
think to
another
an
thing.
extent, even though I'm giving Thomas Tuchel his flowers, I think there was an error. He made some. I think
No, but the thing is, people keep saying that he shouldn't have subbed. If you notice, there was a point where the ball was passed to Vinicius, and
Mhm.
Hurricane was almost limping towards
Yeah,
him.
this is my point. If you're taking off Hurricane
Hmm.
and Musiala, right?
Hmm.
I will stabilize the midfield by bringing in Goretzka.
Okay.
That's how I look at it. I may be wrong, but I thought he would have stabilized the midfield by bringing in Goretzka. He brought in
Defender.
the defender
Kim
Kim
Min-jae, Kim, yeah,
for
Kim,
Leroy
Kim,
Sané. I
yeah.
thought it was a little bit early, but at some time he wanted to stabilize his back line. But
Because Chomeni was also injured. That's
If you're
why
taking off who?
Chomeni was injured. Chomeni is
Okay,
actually
yes,
he. No, not
yes.
Chomeni. Sorry. What was it? Sane. It was Sane. Sane was also limping.
These guys,
So I think
yeah. My problem is bring in someone like Goretzka who could stabilize the midfield a little bit because
midfield.
the young guy Pavlovic was really good, but at some point he was a little tired. So you needed someone who had
Yeah.
more energy to assist him and Lima because Lima had a really good game. Conrad
Yes.
Lima had a
Yes.
really good game. So that's where I
So
look at
this
it.
is
That there was a little bit of game man. I don't know if I'll call it game management, but I
man
think maybe
management thing.
the subs were not really.
So this is
Musala,
how I look at it.
you're leading 1-0. Musala is, even
Mhm.
though he didn't have a good game as he usually does, but he's good with the ball. Keep some of those players that
Him
could
in there.
commit the fouls, that could keep the ball for maybe 10 or 15 more seconds. Keep them on the
Okay.
pitch. Yeah, that's how I look
Yeah.
at it. Because
So
yeah,
I'm looking at
Ken
it
was
this way.
limping. Take off
I'm
Kane, bring Goretzka.
Yeah, I look
That's
at
how I
it
look
this
at
way.
it.
I look at it this way. He probably, I mean, I'm just guessing here. He probably thought to himself, okay, we still need to maintain a threat up front,
Okay.
even if we're winning, because if we invite Real Madrid to press us, they're gonna just run over us. Because remember, at this point, Real Madrid had subbed in Luka Modric and
Mhm.
Camavinga, and with Camavinga being
And then the Moroccan kid,
Brahim, what is it?
Brahim
Brahim
Diaz.
Diaz?
Brahim Diaz.
Yes,
Yeah.
Brahim Diaz. So and at this point, Real Madrid was coming at them with all the force. So he probably
Mhm.
thought, okay, because they're running at us, we can catch them on the break. And that's probably why he put Choupo-Moting in there. So that you know what Aston Villa, let me just go back. Aston Villa did that to Arsenal, where Arsenal was chasing the equalizer, and somehow they just got the ball over the top of the line, and Eddie and Watkins was left with with Emil Smith Rowe and just beat him and scored. So those
Yeah.
are some of the things I'm thinking that the coach was thinking in this case.
Yeah.
But I really don't understand. You're right, because I think in this situation with 6 minutes left, he
Yeah.
should have probably made that stop that way to be
My
more
point is
defensive.
this: those two guys, Choupo-Moting and Mola,
Muller, yeah,
you would have brought in one of them, not both of
yeah,
them. One of
not
those
both.
changes
Okay,
would have been Goretzka and
and either
Choupo-Moting or
or Muller
Muller. That's
or
how I
Muller.
look at it.
Okay, and yeah, Muller
Everyone,
got it.
and we've seen it for the last how many years. Everyone knows that Real Madrid, it's never done until it's never done.
Until the whistle goes. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
Until
you
the
can,
whistle
yeah,
goes. We've seen
yeah.
it so
So
many times.
they do that all the time. They wait for the last minute. I don't know. That's why I don't care what people say. I think they're using juju. That's how I look at it.
You
I
have
think
you
Real
have to
Madrid. Yeah,
score against Real Madrid for them to wake up and play.
yeah.
All right. Well, now let's talk about Vinicius Jr.
Mhm.
He probably, for me, epitomizes one of the best wingers on the left that I think I've ever seen. This guy terrorized Kimmich throughout the game. Even when the second goal came, it was him. Like you could see in the video, like I've watched it a million times. Kimmich keeps double checking to see where he is, and somehow the ball goes to Rudiger instead of Vinicius because Kimmich is focused only on Vinicius,
Mhm.
and allows Rudiger to make the cross, which Jose Lu taps in. Man, this guy is so talented.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Where is
always
Mbappe going to play?
like I
Like,
say, like I say. But people talk. Has been in the conversation, Ballon d'Or
Mhm.
conversation now.
Yes.
But people focus on Mbappe, saying if Mbappe does well in the Euros or Bellingham does well in the Euros, they're going to win the Ballon
Lucky
d'Or.
them.
But
Yeah.
as of now, Vinicius should be in the front seat. He should be the favorite right now if you talk about Ballon d'Or. He
Yeah.
also has the Copa America to play for.
Exactly.
Brazil's team is not that good, but like I always say, I don't think you must win the trophy. Your team, because the trophy is your team winning it, not you. But your
Hmm.
individual performance is you. You could be a best player of a tournament without winning that tournament.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah,
Very true.
you understand. So I think that even if Brazil doesn't win the Copa America, but Vinicius plays well with what he's
Plays
done
well.
so far this season, he deserves the Ballon d'Or.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. So
Jude Bellingham should be in the
Jude Bellingham should
conversation.
be in
Mbappe
the
should be in the
conversation too.
conversation. But as of now, as we speak, the last 3, 4, 5 games, Vinicius has been the main man for Real Madrid.
All right. So let's quickly talk. Let's quickly talk before we round out the Champions League conversation and go into Europa League. Let's quickly talk about the finals. We now have Real Madrid versus Dortmund. Who do you think wins the final on June 1st?
Real Madrid. Real Madrid will win the
Madrid.
final. I think I see them winning the finals. But yeah, I see them winning the finals. I want Dortmund to win,
You
but
don't
I
seem
see.
too sure.
Yeah, no, I think Madrid is going to win. The reason you see me playing with words or not being able to come out with a real decision is because I am for Dortmund, but I see Madrid winning. So that's why I'm a little bit flip flopping.
All right, great. Well, with the Champions League, if you were to say, based on the semifinals, you have to pick the top five players who performed really well. Who would you have on your side
Like the
as top
like
five?
just not like I'm making a team, just
Across,
top
no,
five
not
players.
like a team, just those who
Okay,
impressed. Top five,
those
yes.
who impressed: Tony Cruz,
Mm-hmm.
Tony
Yeah,
Cruz, Vinicius Junior,
absolute engine, Tony Cruz.
yeah, Tony Cruz, Vinicius Junior, Jordan Sancho,
Mm-hmm.
Vitinha, Vitinha
Yeah,
of
oh, yeah.
PSG.
Ooh,
Yeah. Vitinha, Jordan Sancho, Vinicius Junior, Tony Cruz, and
maybe Matt
I'll go
Himmels,
for I'll go for
Joselu for the goals.
no. I will probably go for this Jamal Musiala. Jamal Musiala.
Oh, Musiala,
Yeah,
yeah,
Jamal
oh yeah.
Musiala.
He
Yeah.
made a few runs in there.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think Tony Cruz was, man, what a metronome. He's
Have you seen
unbelievable.
the pass? You see the passes the guy gives to, like
Yes,
from the midfield where he gives to his
yes,
wingers? Man,
yes.
this guy is like he has his boots, there's a
Absolute,
ruler there. It's like there's a
absolutely.
ruler, man.
He is unbelievable. He is unbelievable. And he figures out a way to control possession and he passes the ball with the left just as nicely as he does with the right.
Yes.
Unbelievable stuff.
These
And
guys, man.
how old is Tony
It's
Cruz? Like
30, 33,
30,
34.
34, 35?
No, 30. Yeah, I think it's
Jeez.
30. Oh, man. Cruz.
He's good. He's good. All
Yeah.
right. That's it for the Champions League, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go into the Europa League. Europa League, we have a storyline brewing. Storyline brewing, Europa League. Bayer Leverkusen, they have played what, 49 games total this year, haven't
Mhm.
lost a single one. Unbelievable stuff.
Do you know how many?
Unbelievable stuff.
Do you know how many games they've scored after the 90th minute?
And yep, I'm coming to that. They've scored most of their goals after the 80th minute. My goodness. And in this game, they actually, the game against Roma, it was, Roma had two penalties in this game. Two penalties. We knew when they got the second penalty, I thought to myself, okay, this is it. Bayer Leverkusen is finally going to lose a game. That's it.
That's and
And
that my problem is, yeah.
somehow these guys figured it out, and it was unbelievable stuff. I mean, even the own goal came almost similar to the Bayern Real Madrid game, right?
Yes.
Where the own goal was unexpected and it just happened, and it kind of revigorized, gave them the vigor that they needed, and they came right back and got that Stanisic, I think, is the one
That's
who
what I
got
wanted to talk about. Stanis's
the
goal.
last
His goal.
goal. So go ahead,
He's
I'll give
he's
you the
on
floor.
he's on loan from Bayern Munich. That
Yes,
guy.
yes,
And when Dortmund played Bayern, he scored against Bayern. He's on loan because the Bundesliga, every other league, they don't have the Premier League rule where if you're on loan, you can't play against
play against
your parent
your
club. Your parent
parent
club.
team.
They don't have it,
Yeah.
and every other league has it. So that guy, and what I wanted to say is that the second goal, the second goal, Leverkusen scored. It was like a good
Mhm.
goal. It wasn't like a tussle. An
Yeah.
actually well organized goal. He eliminated it and he scored the goal. And
And he was a
that's
90-minute sub, right? He
yes.
was a
And the problem is, you see Dortmund playing at the problem is this: when you see them playing 90th minute, you don't see them putting some extra physical strength. They're playing like, no, we know we're going to score. You understand what
yeah.
I'm trying to say? It's the 90th minute, but you see them playing like, we know we're going to score. And they've been doing this repeatedly. They've been doing this repeatedly. You know, when it was 2-1, I was like, damn,
That
Leverkusen is going to go through, but they're going to
far.
finally lose a game. I don't want them to lose a game. So I was like, okay, yeah, they're going to make it to the finals, but they're going to finally lose a game, and I don't want them to lose a game. So the two games, wait, is it 4 games away
4 games away
from yeah, because they
yeah,
have the Europa League finals, they have the Cup finals, and then two
finals.
and
Yeah.
then two league
Two
games
more
left.
games in the league.
So they have
Yeah.
4 games left to have, and that would be, like I said last time we
Perfect
had this.
record.
It's gonna be
Perfect
the best.
record.
It's gonna be the best story for me. I don't care what people say.
Yeah.
It's Europa League. It's gonna be the best story for the team
Yeah.
to play an entire season in every competition without losing, and especially from where he took the team. He took the
Yeah.
team
They
where
were like
they were
second
fighting
to the last,
relegation.
second to the
Yeah. So
last fighting
yeah. So
relegation.
it's gonna be the
He
best
stayed
story,
in
the
last
biggest
season, and
story,
then this
football
season
story.
they're
Yeah.
they're leading it to the top. Let's talk
Yeah.
about Florian Wirtz. He's like one of the most I rated him so highly. But I was surprised that he actually was on the bench until I think the 80th minute. I'm not
That's
sure exactly what happened, but when he came in, you saw he made like those passes. Man, he took over the
that's
game.
That's another thing
Right?
too. That I'm saying, like this Leverkusen, I don't understand if maybe they already knew the scoreline, because you can't be 2 goals down and you have
Mhm.
your best player on the bench till the 80th minute.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't understand.
It's
I don't
guts.
understand what. Yeah, I don't understand what Xabi Alonso was trying to do. You have, because most teams after the second goal, Vert is coming in
They would
right
have
away,
made a stop.
even if
Exactly.
he's
They would
injured,
have made a stop immediately.
he's getting in right away, even if he's injured. But that guy he waited until the 80th minute
80th minute.
before he brought in Vert, and Vert came in. He took over the game.
The game
He's
was
like,
his.
okay, he was
And
like, game, come. He puts the game in his palms and he decides the game,
man,
making those
you know,
flicks, those passes, and everything.
and I mean, Xabi Alonso has done a job on this Leverkusen side. We have to seriously give him the prop for it. I feel bad for Daniele De Rossi because he also has done a job on Roma since taking over from Mourinho, and he has been imperial. It would have been beautiful if Roma had come through, but this was just too much of a
Yeah,
storyline to let
it would have been
Leverkusen.
better. It would have been better for Roma to play against Marseille and then Leverkusen against
Yeah,
Atalanta, and maybe you have
exactly.
Leverkusen Roma meet in the final. But
Listen,
still,
there you go.
this was a repeat of last year's semis.
Last
Remember,
year, yeah, yes,
Mourinho beat Alonso last year,
yeah,
semi-finals
so
of
yeah,
the Europa League. Yeah, so
yeah.
because
So
I
this time
remember when they
around, though,
played
what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Let's see. Leverkusen is going to be facing Atalanta, right?
Leverkusen.
Um, Atalanta had a very interesting game against Marseille. One of those situations where I really was shocked, that they beat Marseille 3-0. And because when you look at it, the way the away leg went, I didn't see that coming. And, for it to have happened the way it did, 3-0 at home, Atalanta kind of gave them the Liverpool treatment, which
Yeah,
the same treatment they gave Liverpool, which was
I
really impressive for me. And
I
Lookman,
knew
Lookman had
Atalanta.
a
Yeah,
game too, right?
that's where I was going to. I knew Atalanta was going to win better, and I knew they were going to win like maybe 1 or 2. I didn't know it was going to be this easy, especially
Yeah,
for a semi-finals. It was easy. It
yeah,
was an easy game for Atalanta. It was an
three
easy game
zero,
for them.
three
Yeah,
zero.
but besides the score line, they didn't. Marcel didn't really have
They
that
did
threat on
they
them.
brought that
Yeah.
game.
So
Yeah,
it was an easy game. But if you watch Liverpool versus Atalanta, even though the score line didn't really reflect, because Liverpool had a good game too. They had
yes.
missed chances, but
They just
Marseille
missed
wasn't the
chances.
same. Marseille was different. But it's going to be a good tie. Atalanta has been really
Would
good
be a
this
good
season.
final, right?
So it's gonna,
Yeah,
yeah,
Atlanta
especially
is
for
really good.
the,
I
yeah,
mean, when you think about it, Ederson in the middle, what is the guy, De Cataleri or whatever his name is,
they
and
have
then
the
you have Lookman,
Coupemans, the Dutch
Koopmans.
guy.
Yeah,
He's really
yeah,
good too. And then you
yeah.
have Lugman and Skamanka. Skamanka is making a name for
And
himself.
even the is it the Ivorian guy, Toure Bilal? No, Malian guy, Toure
Malia,
Bilal.
yeah, they
Yeah,
have a
he the
good
guy
team.
who scored the second goal.
And then they have Zappacosta, who used to play for Chelsea too. And the good thing is that two teams playing the same setup, three at the back.
three at the back.
Leverkusen plays three at
Exactly.
the back. Atalanta
Yeah.
plays three at the back. So we're going to see who is going
It's
to
gonna be a
thrive.
fun
You
game.
know?
All
Yeah.
right. So what's your choice? What's your choice for the winner of the Europa League? What do you think?
Leverkusen, man, Leverkusen. I said I don't want them to lose any game, and you're asking me
This
who's
is
going
the
to win.
storyline.
Yeah,
I
man.
don't
I
know.
just want
I
them
don't know.
to. Yeah.
Invincibles.
Nah,
Only Arsenal
Leverkusen.
should be the Invincibles,
I
but
want them
we'll
to
see
be
how that
invisibles,
goes.
man. Yeah, I want them to be invisibles. No, yeah, I want them to be invisibles. Trust me.
All
It'll be a
right.
good story.
Uh, Unfortunately, there's some news coming about Florian Words that he
It's
got a
injured.
thigh injury and he'll be available early June 2024. So I'm not sure how true that is, but that's what's come out in the news after
They're
this
gonna
the
win.
game.
Can you see? Can you see the way what's his name? The kid, the
Oh,
left-footed kid that plays for Leverkusen. Adli, Adli,
uh,
Adli.
Adley. Yeah,
He's a
he's
Mor-
the
he's
one
a
who
Mor-
started up front in that
yeah,
game.
he's a Moroccan. The guy is really good.
Yeah,
Morocco, they
yeah,
really do have a good team, eh?
yeah. Morocco
You
has a
have
very, especially a
Brahim
good
Diaz and you have Adli. So
Brahim Diaz. Yeah,
players like Hakim Ziyech,
Mazraoui in PSG. Oh
Hakim
no, in
Ziyech.
Bayern.
Yeah,
Hakim
Hakim Ziyech.
Ziyech.
I think it's time for him to go to the bench.
No, I mean it. I think the next African Nations Cup will be really, really, really fun. We have some good names, and I think we'll talk about that because Cameroon has also made some call ups. We'll see how the qualifiers go in the next few weeks. We'll see how it
Yeah.
goes. But let's finish with the Europa League. Your pick is Leverkusen. I think it's
Mhm.
going to be actually. I think it's going to be the best game. Um,
Mhm.
that we'll watch of all the European finals because it's going to be tactical. The unfortunate thing is
Very tactical.
it's being played on a Wednesday, and
Yeah.
I don't know why they're playing it on a Wednesday, but
I don't
it
know
is
too.
what it
Yeah,
is.
and you know what? Most when they say a team plays three at the back, the first thing that comes to the back of your mind is that it's a defensive minded team.
Yeah,
But strange enough, both teams are teams that are very open. They play
very
very open, even though they have three at the back, but their game is very open. So it's going to be a game of two teams that enjoy, that are comfortable passing the ball around. So it's going to be a good game, even though it's going to be a finals. But Leverkusen, if
yeah,
you watch the way they play, Leverkusen is another team. They don't mind. They concede, but they score,
they'll
right?
score. Yeah,
They will beat you 4-3, 2-1, three
one thing.
two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun game. Head to head, when you look at it, Atalanta has beaten them twice when they've met in the Europa
Mhm,
League
mhm.
final stages in 2022 in March. So we're looking forward to seeing it. Let's see how it goes. Now let's talk about European Conference League. I don't know why that league exists, but hey, it's there. So let's talk
You
about
know
it.
why? Do you know why it exists?
Why. I
Because
have no idea.
The UEFA,
Chose to put it there.
they didn't make enough money during the COVID. So they're trying to
COVID.
they're trying to get back the money
They
they lost
created a new
during the
one.
COVID. So they
All
created
right.
a third
Well,
competition. Because I don't really see the need for this, man. I think
yeah,
to
yeah.
me
So
the FA Cup is better. It's to me the FA Cup is a bigger competition than the European Conference League. Trust
all
me.
right, let's
Yeah.
don't let them hear that because they make so much money. And somehow their
Yeah.
final is also on a Wednesday, May
Mhm,
29th, after the Europa League finals, but before the Champions League finals. I'm like,
mhm.
okay, I don't get
Champions
it.
League
It's
is
June 1st.
June 1st, right?
Yeah, the weekend after they play the European Conference League final,
Okay.
which to me is baffling because the Europa League is bigger than the European Conference League to
Yeah, it
me. I
should
mean,
be. Yeah,
how
they should put it like it
after,
should be
you know, but
chronological. You know.
yeah, they sandwiched it in between. But anyways,
Mhm.
Olympiacos took care of Aston Villa. Fiorentina is also on there Wednesday, the 29th. What are your quick thoughts?
And
Fiorentina, I didn't watch
Fiorentina,
that game, so I have
they played.
nothing really to
Yeah,
say about it.
West Ham beat them in the
They beat
finals.
Club, is it they beat Club Bruges,
Yeah,
right?
Club Brugge and West Ham beat them in the finals last year. European
Exactly,
Conference League. So
exactly.
they're back again so they're becoming Conference League specialists like Sevilla used to be
Specialist.
Europa League specialists.
I know. Unfortunately, for Unai Emery, I really thought Aston Villa was going to come through because I mean, Aston Villa, Unai Emery, he always has that thing about Thursday night
Yeah,
football,
I know.
European competitions.
You said
So what
you
happened
said he was
there?
gonna turn it
The
around. I
script
don't
didn't
know.
go well because
I don't know.
Olympiacos beat them
Another Moroccan
4-2
guy,
and
man.
2-0.
Another Moroccan guy, the guy who scored both goals. He scored two or was it three against Villa at Villa Park, and then he scored
El
both goals.
Kabi.
Yeah, he's a
Kabi.
Moroccan guy too. He played the AFCON, but he was coming off the
Yeah.
bench. So
Mhm.
yeah, so
And ex Wolves guy, Podence, I think
Podence, yeah, Podence,
he
yeah.
took care of that game.
He left Olympiacos. I came to
Came
Wolves, and then he went back to
Went
Olympiacos.
back to Olympiacos, and he
Podence,
had a really good game too.
yeah,
He
yeah,
had
yeah.
a
Podence, he's good. He's good. He's a technical shot, Scott, and very skillful
very
guy. You
short
know.
guy.
Hmm.
close to the ground and does the work.
Yeah.
So the way the game went, a lot of yellow cards. No, I don't see any controversies. But possession, the lion's share of possession was Aston Villa.
Hmm.
Even though they were playing away, they had the lion's
Yeah.
share of possession. I'm not too sure how they didn't end up winning this game, but to lose 6-2 in a semifinal on aggregate, that's tough. That's tough to take, man. I don't know
To
how Aston
uh, to
handles
lose
this.
that amount to Olympiacos, not that you're
Olympiacos
losing it
too.
to a
Like,
really
it's not,
top team,
you
right?
know, if
Yeah.
you're losing it to a Man City, understood, but
Hmm.
Olympiacos, that's crazy. But unfortunately, Una Emery, I think he after game he said his team didn't have enough rotation. He doesn't have enough tools yet in the shed. So
That's
hopefully
it.
next year when they are in the Champions League, I'm guessing they'll be in the Champions League. We'll see what he
So
makes.
he's trying to send a signal. He's trying to send a signal to the powers that be that we need more players.
Yeah,
That's indirectly what he's doing. Because if you don't have enough resources for the conference league, you can't use that same resources to play the Champions League. So
the
you're just
Champions
trying to
League.
tell those at the top that
Buy me players. Give me.
yeah, it's time to take off the rubber from the notes and put some money on the table.
All right, let's talk about El Kabi because you talked about him.
Hmm.
He has what is it, 39 goals this year, this so far.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's doing good. He's doing good at Olympiacos. Yeah,
Olympiacos. That's a lot
he's
of
doing good.
goals, man.
Yeah, he's doing good.
That's
He's doing good.
amazing. Um, so question for you, Ajab. This guy, I'm trying to look up his profile. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I
Who?
can find him. Kabi. I want to understand a little bit because you said he played in the Afcon, but he came off the bench a few times.
Yeah,
I
El. What's his name? The other guy,
El
El.
Kabi
El. No, I mean the guy who plays the Moroccan striker who plays for Sevilla, El Nesiri. That's the yeah. He's the starter striker for Morocco. So this El Kabi guy during the Afcon, he was coming off the bench for that El
was the one
Nesiri.
coming
Yeah.
in.
Mhm.
All right. So this El Kabi guy is 30 years old. I'm not too sure he will be at the next AFCON, but if he is, that's good, I guess. To have
Mhm.
scored 39 goals, that's unbelievable stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable stuff. It's pretty cool. All right, let's jump. Let's make the jump. We've covered the Europa League. We've covered the for this one. Who do you think wins? Sorry, we didn't finish that part.
Um. That's tough. I'll give it to. I'll give it to Olympiacos.
Olympiacos.
Yes.
Yeah, they I think they have the goods.
I'll
I
give
think
it
they
to
have the goods for
Olympiacos.
this one.
Yeah.
But you never know. Fiorentina was
Yep.
there last year. They lost. So this year they
Yeah,
may be coming
that's
in with
true.
a better game
So
plan.
yeah, I
So
could. I don't think they're gonna lose twice in a row. Huh? So
okay.
it's
So
tough.
let's just take a quick stock of what you've said. Champions League finals, Real Madrid. You have
Hmm. Hmm.
Leverkusen for the Europa League finals and
Hmm.
Olympiacos for the
No, I'll give it Fiorentina for the conference.
Fiorentina.
I
Okay,
changed. I changed my
Fiorentina for
mind.
the European
Fiorentina. Yeah.
Conference League.
Hmm.
Okay, good. I agree with you. Real Madrid for the finals of the Champions League. I think Atalanta comes through because I want Lukman to win something. He missed
Okay.
out on the Afcon Cup. I think he should win
Okay.
something this year. He's been really good. I think he's the African Player of the Year, if you ask me, because he's
Okay.
been really good.
Yeah, it's been good. I think Boniface too is Nigerian.
Yeah,
So
eh,
the
he
mhm.
didn't do much. He didn't do much in these last two games. I didn't
Yeah,
see him do
he
the
didn't.
work that
Yeah, he only came in. He's still recovering from the
recovering
injury.
from
So
injury.
probably
Exactly.
they're keeping him. They getting him ready for the finals.
Yeah, especially with Florian Wirtz, who's currently injured too.
And
So
then the other guy,
he's
Tapsoba.
prepared.
I like
Not
Edmond
so bad.
Tapsoba. I like
Okay,
him. Edmond
that's good
Tapsoba.
too.
I like him. So
Okay, all right, we'll see. But I'm behind Lukman on this one. Najano they carry last.
they have a lot. They have lots of Africans in the
Africans,
Leverkusen
yeah,
team. They have Kusunu. They
yeah,
have
yeah.
Telo. They have
That's
Adli. They have
right.
about 5 or 6 Africans.
In Leverkusen. Yeah,
Yeah.
very well coached team, I would say.
Mhm.
And for the European Conference League, of course, I'll go with Fiorentina just because last year they were
Yeah.
trying all over the place. All right, so that's it. That's it for the European games. Let's quickly jump segue into the Premier League. We have, I think, 15 minutes left. I want us to quickly touch on the Premier League because this weekend, I think the league is going to be decided this weekend. Even though everybody thinks it's going to go down to the wire, I think this weekend we're going to get the next 4 days starting tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, yeah. So the
Yes.
next 4 games starting tomorrow 7:30
Mhm.
all the way to Tuesday when Aston Villa plays their +1 game that they have, and Spurs plays their +1 game with Man City that they have. I think that's though the title will be decided in these 4 games, these 4 days. That's just my thought, and that's because I look at it and I see, say because let me just put it this way: say Fulham and City tie, right? That's implications for Arsenal. Arsenal is going to Old Trafford. That's the top, right? Old Trafford is not a place where Arsenal usually comes back with the points. And say Arsenal goes there and somehow surprises everybody and wins the game, then it's almost like the league is almost finished for City, because City will now have to make up 3 points and 6 goals or maybe more in goal difference in order to win the league if they win the rest of their games and Arsenal win the last game, right? But if City were to beat Fulham, right, on Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern,
No, say
and Arsenal
say
were to Old
when
Trafford,
say when City
when
beats Fulham. Don't say if.
I know, no, no, no. Well, you never know. You never know. They're playing at 7:30. Man City hates playing that early in the day.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, Pep Guardiola has always complained about it. Klopp has always complained
Okay.
about it. So,
Okay.
and if they win and Arsenal loses at Old Trafford, of course, that's it. There's no way Arsenal is going to catch up to City with a game in hand that City has, 3 points ahead, and 1 game left to go, right?
I just won the league too. I want it to go down to the wire.
The wire.
Arsenal win
Okay.
all your games left. Man City win all your games left. We
Let's
started on
figure
the
out
last
that
day.
day.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. Let's get
So
to the
and
last day, man.
so the reason and the other reason I'm talking about this is because I think that Aston Villa, they will probably lose to Liverpool, right? And then that allows Spurs to dream about that fourth place, Champions League fourth place.
It's 7 points. It's
Yes,
7 points between Villa and Spurs, right?
that's right. And Spurs
Seven
has a
points.
game, yeah, and they have the
So,
same number of games because they
okay.
each have a game in hand.
So
So imagine,
Spurs plays Burnley,
yes,
right?
Spurs
Okay.
will play Burnley,
I know
and
where you're
then they
heading.
have to play
I
City.
know where you're heading to. I know where you're heading to.
Yeah, so that
What you're
the
trying
whole point
to
is on Tuesday, Spurs will have something to hope for if they beat City.
that's exactly.
That's the scenario I have, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad you read my mind right there, because I was looking at the table and the fixtures. I was like,
I know where you're heading to. Because if Liverpool beats Aston Villa, Spurs win is gonna be 4 points with a game in hand. So they're gonna be saying, oh,
exactly.
if you can beat City, it's gonna be 1 point,
Beat City,
right?
1 point. There you go, and then it goes down to the wire for them because then they figure it out in the last day, and there's implications for the relegation battle too, because Burnley is looking to survive. Luton is looking to survive. You never know, man. You never know. And then
Yeah.
there's Nottingham Forest.
Forest
They
is
are
playing.
appeal
Forest is
for
playing. They're playing against Chelsea, and
Chelsea.
Chelsea has been looking good lately. But
Really
you
good.
never know
Yeah,
Chelsea. Chelsea is not that. Until if they beat Forest, then you're going to say, okay, maybe they're starting to have some consistency. But that's
some
come
consistency. Yeah.
very late in the season.
Oh
Because
man,
yeah,
it's gonna be a fun weekend. I think this weekend determines the title. I know nobody is saying it, but I think this weekend determines the title. I think by Tuesday we will know who is going to win the league, or at least have a good idea who is in there and who is going to win the league. But that's just me hoping, really. Um, you know, Spurs plays Burnley and then they go on and play City before they end the league. Nottingham Forest is at home to Chelsea, and we know that Nottingham Forest is tough when they're at home. There are implications for them, to survive. Their appeal was denied, so they have a vested interest in winning their
yeah,
games because their appeal for 4 points was denied. So,
yeah.
if Luton win, Luton is in there, and you see, even though there's a goal difference, there will be that issue of let's go down to the last day and see how it happens. And you don't, I mean, it should be fun for us, the neutrals, but we'll see how it goes, right?
And
Uh,
Chelsea is fighting for sixth spot to play Europa League. So
Europa League, and
yeah,
Chelsea can get
yeah,
into Europa League too.
yeah.
Exactly,
Because
exactly. So it's
Newcastle is ahead of them with, is it 2 points or 3 points? 2 points, right?
three. I think it's two.
It's
I think
three.
it's two. Let
So
me
two
quickly
two
check. Let me
points,
quickly check.
and
It's
then
two.
Newcastle has to play.
Fourth,
Newcastle has to play. I think Newcastle has to play
Brighton. Newcastle plays against
Brighton,
Brighton.
and then
Yeah,
United. They have a game too
and
against
then
Manchester United.
United. Yeah,
Yeah. So Chelsea now is also hoping
should be
that
fun.
Newcastle sleeps and then they can
Then
go
they
on.
have the at home game against United on Wednesday, and then they have
Mhm.
to play Brentford away
Yeah.
on the final day. So Chelsea can actually get in there.
If
Chelsea
they
can
yeah,
actually
if they win their own games too, because
yeah.
Chelsea has Forest, Brighton away, and then they play in Bournemouth on the
Burnley.
last day, and Bournemouth has been really good this season too.
Oh yeah, that's another team
Yeah,
that's really well coached.
Bournemouth
Man,
has been
some of
good.
these
Yeah,
coaches, the coaches, this man, these young coaches have been doing amazing.
yeah.
Bournemouth. Let's talk about
Mm.
Bournemouth for a second. I'm glad you brought them up. Their fixtures are quite good. They have just Brentford this weekend and then Chelsea on the last week, but they
Yeah,
have been playing really well.
they are one of the teams of the season. If you ask me to give like revelations or surprise
Mhm.
packages, Brentford will be there. When you talk about individual performances, I'll talk about Solanke, who scored
Yes.
18 Premier League goals. I'll talk about the coach Iriola, who's done a
Yeah.
tremendous job with them. So it's yeah, there are a lot of yeah. He's been good. He's been good. He's been good.
Do you think next year Solanke is still at Bournemouth?
Yeah, he's still gonna be there. Who's gonna sign him? None of the top teams are gonna go after him, and I
I
don't
think
see him.
a team like Spurs needs Solanke.
You think so? You think Spurs will
Song,
go after
Song is
him?
not a striker. Young
Yeah, but
young Song is not a
yeah,
striker.
I know. But do you think a team like Spurs will go for someone? They'll probably want to go for someone outside the Premier
A
League
bigger name,
who is
yeah.
already a bigger name. But Solanke is
But I
there,
think
is good.
Solanke will
And
do the
Solanke
job.
he doesn't want to go where there's some pressure, and he also wants to be within the Premier League. He doesn't want to go to a team that maybe after two, three bad games they're gonna start singing his name
Yeah.
from the stands. So
A lot of pressure. That's right. Pressure comes where you can,
mhm.
and unfortunately for some of these young players, these are decisions that they have to make based on how they want their careers to go, right? There are people who want to go sit on the bench and just make their money, like the Romeo Lavias, but there are people who want to really play ball and they don't care too much about
Mhm.
the salaries.
So the
Like
Romeo Lavia is his injury. Do you think he's just comfortable there? He's injured.
I mean, Lavia should have been at Liverpool if he really wanted to play ball.
You think so?
Yeah, Liverpool offered. He chose to go to Chelsea because they offered more money.
No, the more money is not to him. It's not salary wise. It's Chelsea. It's
Nah.
Chelsea that offered the money to.
Remember they had agreed a lot of things with Lavia from
No, but I'm talking.
Southampton.
I'm
They had
talking.
agreed
Yeah,
terms.
salary wise, Liverpool was not supposed to pay him more than Chelsea. It's
Yeah,
because Chelsea paid more money than Liverpool wanted to pay to Southampton.
to
So
Southampton.
sometimes we're looking at the players. Where is the team? That is the problem.
I think
Those
the
players,
agent.
yeah, those players don't put their price tag, right?
Yeah,
That's why when you see me sometimes, I don't like when they're saying this player doesn't play where he was signed for this amount of money.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you're saying some players who sign for free are supposed to mess up because they were signed for free. Sometimes who do you buy? Like the talent. Now Chelsea has spent 1 billion on who? You're blaming the team or the coach for not coaching a team that spent 100 million or 500 million on who? Who do they spend the players
You
on?
spend the money on. All
Yeah.
right. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. So your predictions for the week, for the weekend. Chelsea does the job against Nottingham Forest and goes back in that conversation about European football, which
Yes.
will be a shocker, right?
Okay.
It will be
Yeah.
a shocker for me because the season they have had has been torrid.
Mhm.
Um, and what else are you predicting this weekend? I mean, I
I'm
think something will
predicting.
happen with the
I'm
top.
predicting all the top teams to win.
Okay.
United, they're starting to have some injured players back in training. I don't know if they'll be ready for the Arsenal game
The game
because
is on Sunday, late on
yeah,
Sunday, so they might
If
just pass.
United plays with Casemiro out of position and all those guys,
They will
Arsenal will
lose.
kill them. It's
Yeah.
going to be at 5-0, 6-0. But if you have some of the guys like Martinez back and all that, and the Old Trafford the
Yeah.
theater of dreams, when they play Arsenal at the Old Trafford, it's always something different. Even though Arsenal is in top form right now,
Yeah.
I still think they're gonna win, but it's not gonna be a walk in the park.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a 2-1 game. I think
Yeah,
that's
it's not gonna
exactly
be a
what I'm
walk. It's
thinking.
not
I'm
gonna be a
thinking
walk in the
one
park.
zero, 2-1, maybe one,
Yeah,
maybe 3-2. It's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a
yeah,
tough
it's gonna
game.
be a tough game. Yeah,
But we've seen Arsenal go to some of these places and take care of business, right? We saw Arsenal just play such a mature game against Spurs at Tottenham at their field away, and it
it
was
wasn't a,
surprising to
what
me.
it wasn't an easy game.
It wasn't.
You know,
Yeah, it
that's
wasn't
what I'm trying to say. That even if they take care of business, it's not gonna be easy. And
easy.
that's why sometimes when you want to win the title,
Mhm.
try to win some games by playing ugly. There's some of those games that you don't need to impress. You just need to go there and get your
And do the
stuff done.
job. Yeah,
Just win ugly, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's a
1-0, 2-1, play ugly, and you win your game. At this time of the season, with 2, 3 games left, you've done a lot of entertainment. You've done enough entertainment. Now it's just to take care of your business.
Now let's talk. Let's glad that we've looked at that. So you want the league to go down to the wire. So predicting everybody win this weekend. The top teams win this weekend. The players we expect, the teams we expect to win should win this weekend. Let's quickly touch on West Ham. They announced that David Moyes is definitely stepping down,
Yes.
and former Wolves coach Julian Lopetegui is going to
Lopetegui,
be
yeah.
joining them.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the right move for West Ham, given that Lopetegui struggled at Wolves? What are your quick thoughts on that?
Um, Lopetegui struggled at Wolves. I think the reason they're bringing him is that he's someone that has some pedigree. He's someone who's coached big players before. West Ham is
Mhm.
starting to look like a team that could attract some key players. You know, they're starting to have some the Bowens, the
Yeah,
Paquetas, the Kudus. You know, World Prowse. Those are some players, and then they may be able to attract more players. So I think having someone like Lopetegui, who's coached the Spanish national team, he's coached Real Madrid. You know, it's called FC Porto. It's something that could attract some of those Spanish, Portuguese guys if should it be West Ham are trying to get some of them. So I think those are some of
Mhm.
the things they look. And then a coach is as good as his team. He might struggle at Wolves, and then he comes to West Ham, and they have the
He
right
succeeds.
resources, and
Yeah.
he excels. We saw what happened to Ancelotti at Everton. In spite of all what he had done, he came to Everton and he finished 11th or something, and then he went back to Madrid and won the league and won the Champions League. So, you know, it all depends on what you have available. So I think Lopetegui, to me right now, he's not a bad choice. Depending, he's not going to Aston Villa that finished fourth, or Newcastle that's finishing fifth or sixth, or Tottenham. He's going to a West Ham that has not done well this season. That's like ninth or tenth. If he finishes next season with them like seventh or eighth, they'll say, okay, let's give him another chance. Maybe he might take us to top six again the following season. So I think bringing in Lopetegui to replace Moyes is not a bad idea.
Morris.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Cool. So, um, around the news, there's been a lot of controversy. We saw the Premier League Player of the Season nominations announced.
Young player or player.
No, Player of the Season. They announced.
Okay.
They announced the Premier League
Oh,
Player of the
okay.
Season.
Oh, Premier League. Okay.
Yeah, they announced the nominations. So the nominees so far are Arsenal midfielders Martin Odegaard and Declan Rice,
Yeah,
Chelsea forward Cole Palmer,
of course.
Newcastle striker Alexander Isak,
Mm-hmm.
sorry,
Mm-hmm.
Aston Villa forward Ollie Watkins, and
Watkins.
Liverpool defender Virgil van Dijk to
Yeah.
complete the shortlist. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
technically is 8 people, and the panel will be deciding on May 18th. They will announce, the winner based on votes, public votes, because they've actually said you go to premierleague.com and make and choose who you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the panel also has it's a weighted type vote. So the fans will vote, but then the panel also votes. And of course, they also have, coach of the year nominations, things like young
Sorry.
player of the
Um.
year.
Uh, can I have that list again?
Yes, Martin Odegaard,
Yeah. And
Declan Rice,
Declan Rice, Cole
Cole
Palmer.
Palmer,
Okay.
Alexander Isak,
Okay.
Ollie Watkins, and Virgil van Dijk.
Okay. So
Uh, quick
I'm
thought.
very surprised that
Yes.
the person I thought was going to be player of the season is
Hmm.
not there.
Rodri.
No,
Is that Rodri? Who do you
no.
think?
I thought Phil Foden was going to be player of the season. That's what
Wait,
I thought.
Phil Foden should be in the list, no?
Yeah, that's what
Oh,
I'm.
hold
I'm,
on,
I'm
hold on, hold on,
surprised if
hold
he's
on.
not there.
Yes, Phil Foden is also on the list. I'm sorry.
Hey.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. I skipped his name. Sorry. Sorry. Phil Foden is also on the list. Yes.
What
Yes.
about the other guy,
So my
Erling
issue,
Haaland? Erling Haaland.
Erling Haaland.
He's there.
Yes,
Erling
also on
Haaland
the
is there.
list.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry. I think I read this the wrong way. I should have.
Hmm.
Let me scroll up here. Make sure that I'm
Oh,
reading.
you just want Man City out of everything, yeah?
Let me scroll up. Make sure I'm reading this right. Sorry, my mouse didn't go all the way down, so I didn't see the last
Okay.
part. Yeah,
Okay.
Erling Haaland, Phil
Hmm.
Foden,
Hmm.
Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice, Chelsea forward Cole Palmer, Alexander Isak, Ollie Watkins, Virgil van Dijk. That's 8, right? Yeah,
Yes.
I did say 8, but why did I read
Yeah.
6 names?
I'm surprised Van Dijk.
All right,
I'm surprised
so
Van Dijk is on the list. The reason I'm
yes.
surprised, if you ask me about, let's say, March to give you my Premier League Player of the Season nominee, I'll include Van Dijk.
Mhm.
But now, right now, in the last month or so, last 2 months or last 6 weeks, Liverpool has
Yeah,
been
Van Dijk has not.
sloppy.
But
I'll
there's
take
an
him out of
argument
the
to be
league.
made. There's an
Mhm.
argument to be made. Van Dijk has played largely with players. He's been partnered in that middle with players who have not been really good or
Okay.
who are still too young.
Okay.
Yeah, he had Matip in the beginning of the season. Matip
Mm-hmm.
got injured. Then he
Konate.
started playing with Konate.
And then you
Konate
have
got injured. He
Kwanzaa.
started playing with even
Kwanzaa.
the other guy.
Kwanzaa.
No, not
Kwanzaa.
before Panzer. The other guy who always subs in for Alexander Arnold. He
Bradley.
has a
Bradley.
no,
Bradley.
no, not him.
Oh, Gomez. 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 Joe
Gomez.
Gomez.
There you go.
Joe Gomez.
Gomez.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
He has played with Gomez and
Yeah.
then with
Mm-hmm.
this new guy Kwanzaa. So
Okay.
you can't really fault him. My only issue is Van Dijk should not have been in there. Yes, because we have better defensive partnerships in the league throughout. We've seen that.
I think
I think
Saliba has
they
had. I
probably
think
didn't want
Saliba
to put
has.
too many Arsenal players in there.
I think Saliba has played better than Van Dijk this season.
Saliba,
Saliba.
exactly.
Yeah.
Gabriel, they
No,
didn't put any of
not
them in there.
Gabriel. Saliba. Yeah. Yeah. So but it's
No,
straight. But
Gabriel has
Saliba
skills.
is a nominee for the young player of the season.
Young player, but I mean, come on.
Saliba. Yeah. But I thought
If,
he should be
if you're
making.
putting Foden in this one, you should put. You
You
don't
have
worry about the age and
you have players.
take Saliba.
Yeah. This list is very tricky.
It's a very
I have about 3 or 4 players on this list. If they win it, it won't be. I won't say I wanted this guy.
it won't be an issue.
If Foden wins, I'll be like, oh yeah, deserves. If
Yeah,
Kopama wins, I'll be like, wow, he deserves. If Odegaard
Declan
wins, I'll be like, oh, he deserves. If
Declan Rice.
Only Watkins, if he wins, I'll be like, oh, he deserves because Watkins has been exceptional this season.
Okay,
He's played the kind of uh, hurricane kind of striker where
striker
he's good.
hero. Yeah,
Even when he doesn't score, you still see him
he
participating
still
in
does the
the
work for the
game.
team. Yeah.
Still does the work. Yeah. So those are some of the players that I think that they
Wait,
deserve it.
Not Martin Odegaard, not Declan Rice.
No,
I
I said
think
Odegaard. Yeah, Martin
Odegaard.
Odegaard.
Okay, good.
I said Martin Odegaard, Phil Foden,
Palmer,
Oli Watkins, and Palmer.
Palmer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rice, but no, Rice. Yes, Rice has had a good season, but not he deserves to be a nominee, but I don't think he
Mhm.
deserves to win it.
To be honest, I don't think Erling Haaland should be in the list.
Yeah, Erling Haaland too. Yeah, yeah. It's just
Yeah,
he's the top scorer, so by
yeah.
default he's there. But I don't
I
think he
don't
should
think
be
he
in the
should be
list.
in the
Because
list.
even if you
Yeah,
ask me to make a team of the season, I will put Oli
it would
Watkins as my striker.
be
I will
ahead of
put
him.
Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's something to say about strikers. There's something about a flair in a striker. When you have a striker who scores nice goals and beautiful goals, Haaland doesn't do that. Like when Oli Watkins scores, you enjoy the goal. He's like a person. It's finesse, it's flair. Is Alexander Isak, same thing. But when
yeah.
Erling
Isaac.
Haaland scores, he's like robot. He's a robot. He just like it's a goal.
Yeah, Isaac
It's not
has been good.
beautiful. It's not footballistic. Like that's how I see it, anyways.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing, let's talk about omissions. Let's talk about omissions from this list. There's no Saka. A lot of people were making noise about it on X.
Saka,
There's no Rodri.
Saka
There's
doesn't.
no
Saka,
Rodri.
yeah. To me, it's
I
good.
think I
I
think
don't think Rodri should be
Rodri
in the
is
list.
really
Okay.
good.
Yeah, Rodri has
I
been good,
think
but
Rodri is really good and should have been in this list.
Rodri, yeah, maybe Rodri, but no, not
There's no
Saka,
Man City without Rodri.
not
There's
Saka,
no
not
Man
Saka.
City without Rodri. If you notice, every time City has struggled is when they've played without Rodri. So there's no Man City without Rodri, at least from my estimation. So I think Rodri should have been in this list. Erling Haaland should not have been in this list. They should have put Rodri. I don't
Hmm.
think Virgil van Dijk should have been in this list.
Hmm.
Saliba should have been in the list. Um, I really don't know anybody else. I'm trying to think. Uh, but I kind of understand why they did it. But it's just anyways, it's nominations. Let's go vote and see what happens, right? Let's go vote and see what happens when we put our votes out there, see how it gets counted, see what's weighted and how it works out. But for you, who is your player of the season so far? We
Cole
have two
Palmer.
games to go, so I don't know that it will make a difference. you
Cole
know
Palmer.
Cole Palmer, you
Hmm.
think?
Yeah, that's my player of the season. I take
Mm,
I take so many things. I know people will say he scored 15 penalties, but I'm taking so many things into consideration. The
like
environment, the club he plays for, the expectations. The expectations. He came in as a bencher from Man City, a player that Chelsea is bringing with potentials, to a player
mhm,
that Chelsea cannot cope without.
without.
You know,
True.
and besides the fact that even though I'm like I tell you, I'm not a person who is so focused on numbers, right? But
Mhm.
I don't only look at it as his assists because they only call them assists if you score. So if you're providing passes to a striker, he doesn't score. It doesn't count as an assist. And
Doesn't
if
count.
they go to numbers, they'll say how many assists he get.
How many
But if
assists
you
did he
look,
get?
Palmer
Then
has
he
been
gives
giving
those passes,
he's been
and
giving those
Jackson wastes
free
them.
passes. Jackson has
Yeah,
been missing,
but
Sterling has
Wiki,
been
Jackson,
missing,
Philip, anytime.
Madueke, So
Yeah,
and
they
those
miss it.
real passes, not those computer passes that you give a pass to a player on your cam and he beats three defenders
And
and
it's a
score and they
shocker
call it an
because
assist.
this
You
kid
know?
was at Man City. Just
Yeah,
imagine him playing on one side and Foden playing on the other side,
yeah.
and Haaland playing down the middle. Guy,
Yeah,
this
so
City would have been
that's
terrifying.
where he came from. He was on the bench at Man City. He came to Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea. He knew he was going to play, but not going to be like the player like what some people say Cole Palmer FC, not Chelsea FC, right?
True,
So no
true.
one saw this coming, and then he's proven himself. He's played well. He scored goals. He's provided goals. He's been in the game. There's not been a game for Chelsea that you could say Palmer flopped. You can say Palmer was not in the game, but
The
you
game.
cannot say he flopped.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
that's how I look at it. That's why he is
cool.
my man. Then, like I said, Foden,
I
Palmer.
think
Those
you
are
go
my
Foden.
two. Yeah.
Yeah,
But plus
you pick Palmer,
Odegaard.
I go Foden.
Yeah, but
Even though
Odegaard too has been
I
so.
would love
Odegaard
for
has been.
Odegaard to win it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Odegaard has been so impressive.
So this is what I think. This is what I think. If Arsenal wins the league, I think a lot of people will vote either Odegaard or Rice.
You think so?
Yes.
You think he has? I think me. You know how I look at it.
How?
I think if City wins the league, they're gonna compensate us. Voters are gonna compensate Arsenal with giving them a
Arsenal.
player of the season.
You
If
think?
Arsenal wins the league, they're going to compensate City. Not compensate, I mean, like voters are going to
Voters,
use
yeah,
some
they will
compassion to say,
sympathy
okay,
and go for
yeah,
it. I
sympathy.
think it's the opposite
That's how
for
I
the
look at
thing
it.
that will happen for Man U.
They're not going to credit them with winning. They're going to
Ah,
credit them for losing. That at least they need to get something.
makes
That's how
sense.
I look at it.
I think it will be more about the managers of the manager of the league of the season nominees. All right, let's
Uh,
talk about managers. Managers. So Pep Guardiola is nominated, of course.
mhm.
Jurgen Klopp is nominated. Mikel Arteta is
Jurgen Klopp?
nominated. Yeah, Jurgen Klopp is
Okay.
nominated. Mikel
Yeah.
Arteta is nominated. Unai Emery is
Okay.
nominated, and your guy at Bournemouth, Areola, is
Raula.
also nominated.
Raula. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I would say manager
I
of
will
the
give it to my manager of the season is Unai Emery.
Unai.
Unai Emery.
I hate that guy, man. But yeah, I have to be
Yeah.
honest. Yes, since he came into Aston Villa is a
Yeah.
completely different outfit.
Yeah, I'll give it my
Sort of
manager
how
is Unai Emery.
yeah, sort of how Arsenal changed under Mikel Arteta. I would say Una
Oh, but it
Emery
took
has done a
yes,
job on
yes.
Aston Villa.
Another thing, as Arsenal gave Ateta the time. Most teams will not do that. Ateta came in his first two
Mhm.
seasons, he finished eighth. Most teams will like
Yes,
say, "Go, you're not qualified for us." But if we're honest to ourselves, Arsenal has improved,
a lot,
and they
a
get the
lot.
improving. Even though they finished second last season, if they finish second this season, I still think they've
It's still a
improved
good
a
improvement.
lot from
You
last
still see
season.
improvement. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing with Aston Villa. It's the same thing with Aston Villa because Aston Villa missing out on the European Conference League is
Hmm.
still a huge accomplishment because they will get into I think they will get into the Champions
Yeah,
League
they will. They will.
spot.
They will. Yeah.
I don't see and they could surprise us this week tomorrow and beat Liverpool. That's the first thing that I'm thinking because Liverpool hasn't been that
Liverpool
terrifying. It
is
is a derby
Liverpool,
game too.
Liverpool is going to finish third. So I don't. Liverpool knows that they cannot fight the league again anymore. So even if Villa beats them, it's
Exactly.
not an issue. They're going to
So they
finish
really
third.
don't have anything to play
Yeah, they
for.
don't really
So
have
I
anything
think
to play
Aston
for.
Villa will
Yeah,
be coming in that game ready to just kill this thing and take fourth place. So they
Liverpool
will
and
play a different
yeah,
type of game
Villa has more to lose than
to
Liverpool.
lose. Exactly.
Yeah,
But the fact that they played this week during the week might be tough, but we'll see how they do. They can use this game as a bounce back game and make it a big
the game
deal.
is on
But
Sunday, right?
yes,
It's
yes.
on
But
Sunday.
it's good to see Andoni Irola also nominated. It's
Yeah,
a
at
good thing
least
because we talked
he's
about him
because
earlier. Bournemouth
most
has
teams.
been a very good side.
Yeah, most people or plastic fans would think that good coaches are only coaches that the teams are on top or they're winning trophies. They don't pay
Exactly.
attention to some coaches who have transformed clubs from relegation battling teams to teams that are comfortable in the top 10 or something. They only focus on, you don't win weighty. You don't win weighty. That man is a coach, you don't win weighty. Yeah. But
That's
there are
funny.
when you're talking about coaching,
Agreed.
a lot of things that you have to take into consideration. Where they come from to where they are and things like that.
Where they are
You
and
must
how much
you must
progress they've
yeah,
achieved,
you
right?
must not win it. You must not win a trophy to be a good coach. Yeah,
Agreed. Agreed.
you need to win trophies to be world class or top, but to be a good manager, good coach, you have to. Yeah, you
And there's
can be
quite a
down
few of
there.
them. All right.
Yeah,
Great, great. Let's talk about Premier League young player of the season nominees.
Mm-hmm.
Erling Haaland again,
Yeah.
Phil Foden,
Mm-hmm.
Bukayo Saka, William
Yeah.
Saliba,
Mm-hmm.
Alexander Isak again,
Mm-hmm.
Cole
Yeah.
Palmer,
Mm-hmm.
Kobe Mino, and
Yes.
Destiny Udogi.
Udegi. Yeah. Okay. I have an
Udogi,
issue with this. I think the Premier League should revisit this young player. To me, I think once you get to the age of 23, you're ripe
you're no
enough.
longer a
You
young
should
player.
not be
Yeah,
in the yeah, you should not be in that young player category, man.
agreed.
And it's
Agreed.
if even if you're 24, if you started the league at 23, you still qualify. You
Hmm.
understand? That's how it is. So if you started the league when you were 23 years old and right now you're 24 years, you still qualify for the young player of the season nominee.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's how it
It's
is.
all right. Well, who do you think wins this one?
Cole Palmer.
You want him to
Yeah.
double then? He can be player of the season and also young player of the
Cole,
season.
Cole Palmer. No, no, no. I know he's gonna win one. I know. To
He's
me,
gonna win one for sure.
he's gonna be
That's for
more.
sure.
He's gonna be more towards. I
I think
think it's
they'll
gonna
give
be.
young player to him
Yeah,
and
I
then
think it's
give
gonna be more towards the young player.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think they'll give young player to him and then
yeah.
give Declan Rice the player of the season.
Declan Rice,
Yeah.
Odegaard,
There's just
Odegaard,
this thing about
Odegaard or
yeah,
Foden.
yeah. Foden, I would love to see Foden win,
Yeah.
but I can guarantee you if City wins the league, there will be very little compassion about this, and they will not give it to any City player.
But that's what I told you, right? That's what I told you. I said if they win the
Yeah.
league, it's gonna come. If City wins the league, it's gonna come from Arsenal. If Arsenal wins the league, it's gonna come from City. Wait, just wait and see.
Yeah.
Watch. I mean, player of the
I,
season.
I, I
The
think
young
manager
player of the
of the
season for
season
some
will
reason,
determine.
young will
Yeah.
be Cole Palmer. Young player Cole Palmer will probably win the young player.
But I personally think manager of the season will be determined by who wins the league.
Oh yeah,
If
okay.
City
Manager of the
wins the
season.
league,
Okay,
they will give it to
okay.
Mikel Arteta. A lot of
Yeah.
people will give it to Mikel Arteta.
Mhm.
If Arsenal wins the league, they will give it to Pep Guardiola.
No, let
Or
me tell you something. This is a win-win situation for Arteta. Even if he wins or he loses the league, I think he's still gonna win it.
you think?
Yeah. It's going to be a win-win situation for Ateta. Wait and see. It's going to be Ateta or Unai Emery. Guardiola is not going to win
Yeah,
the league.
Arteta or Unai,
It's
one of
going to
the
be
two.
Ateta or Unai
Yeah.
Emery this season.
And
Guardiola is
and
not
it's
going to
funny
do it.
that I'm saying Unai Emery because you guys know how I feel about Unai
Yeah.
Emery.
Then
But
why do you
this one,
feel? Why do you feel so bad about him?
uh, this guy made me cry in front of the TV because of Arsenal, man. You don't get to a final of the Europa League and then lose 4-0 to Chelsea. Man, come on.
4-1,
Like
4-1, 4-1.
it was 4-1 to Chelsea. Like, come on. Finals of the Europa League? I cried that day, man. I remember I cried real tears. I was pissed off.
Why did you
Pissed
cry?
off. Nah, man. After Wenger had left, we had a chance. Just
Hmm.
one trophy. So
And
that we
who
don't
brought you guys
hear
in? When was the
this
last time you guys got to that level?
thank you. This
No,
like
thank
and
so you
Arsenal
guys
was
are, instead of appreciating him for taking you guys that
nah,
far, you're only looking at the
nah, you
result,
don't
the
lose
score.
like that, bro. You don't lose
Okay.
like that. You don't lose like that. It hurt, man. It hurt. Trust me. Like I've never cried for Arsenal before, but this guy, man, this guy. I've gone back to that game so many times to watch it. And in my head, I'm just wondering, like, what type of lineup? Like, what was the plan? Eden Hazard, Eden Hazard is like one of these guys who can make things happen, undo. He can create and undo, and you have no plan to block him from playing. And this is the same thing that happened with PSG versus Barcelona in that game where Barcelona came back, and it was still Unai Emery. So
So
since that moment, I was
So
in my
who
head.
you wanted with at Barcelona had Neymar, Suarez, and Messi. So you wanted a plan on how to block three of them or what?
They had man, they could have figured something out.
Uh,
They could have figured something out. Bruh, like, and the thing is, when you look at that game, right? You look at that game and you're thinking to yourself, like, when the game started, what was it? Giroud, a former Arsenal guy, scored against us, and bruh, like, what? There was no plan. Oh God.
no, you cannot say there
Don't
was
make
no
me
plan.
think back to that
You
day. Don't
cannot
make
say
me go back to that day because Unai Emery hurt me, man. Unai Emery hurt me. I'm not gonna lie to you. From that moment on, I've always had this question mark about him. But hey, if he wins it, kudos. He has done an amazing job at Aston Villa. All right. So I think that's pretty much all what I had on my notepad for us to discuss today. But any parting words, any thoughts, any quick thoughts? Let's quickly check to see if there's any comments anywhere. Just bear with me here. see if the stream has any comments. I don't see any comments on
Yeah,
Facebook. I see a comment. It said
thank you.
nice one. That was
Yeah,
earlier.
that's my boy
Thank you so
Brian.
much, Brian. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Brian.
that's
I
my boy.
appreciate
He's a
that.
coach. He's a coach. We're gonna invite him one day. Yeah, he coaches
So we
Montreal
can
United.
interview him.
The
Oh, that
soccer
would be
team in
nice.
Montreal. Yeah, he coaches Montreal United. So we're gonna get him here one day to give us
That'll be
his
good. That'll be
expert
good.
knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'd be good. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on, Ajab. Really, really,
Yeah.
really enjoyed the conversation. True
Same
Lion,
here.
if you're out there, we miss you, man. Make sure you come back. We need
Mm-hmm.
to see you in one piece. Any parting words? Any parting words? What do you think
Well,
this weekend holds for us? I know you've already answered that
business
question.
as usual. Business
I
as usual.
I think the league ends this weekend. I know you differ in that. You have a
Mm-hmm.
different point of view, but let's see how it goes, right? All right, everyone. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Really, really appreciate you. Please do not forget to like, subscribe. I know it's a shameless thing to keep saying and repeating, but you know
Yeah.
we cannot be in front of you if you don't subscribe. Because when you subscribe and click the notification bell, when we come on live, you will get a notification on your phone and you can get on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily have to send you the link for you to jump
Mm-hmm.
on, right? But you can do all of that stuff. Subscribe, follow, like, always comment. Some of this stuff we talk about, it's our points of view, but we also want to sample your opinion. We want to get what you think. We want to
Mm-hmm.
hear what you think about what we say. And if there's something we say that does not sit well with you, call us out. Let's have a conversation about it. That's what we try to do here. The football trio. Now, the leagues are coming to an end in a few weeks, right? 3 more weeks, right? By the 19th of May, everything will be over, and then the European League will be over June. The European Cups, Champions League, Europa League, European Conference League will be complete June 1st. And then we start getting ready for the Europas. The
Mm-hmm.
Europa,
The Euro
the
Cup, Germany.
Europa, yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
Euros. I don't even know how they call it anymore. The
Euro.
the
Mm-hmm. Euro.
Euros, yeah. Once the Euros are over, we're in the Copa America. So there's a lot of football to go around. Even
And
though
then
it's the summer,
by the time Copa America is done, we're preparing for the start of
we're
the
back
season.
again in the league, right? We'll be talking about
Pre-season and all that.
transfers and all the other
Transfer.
stuff. We've already started seeing coaches being fired left and right, coaches
Mm-hmm.
being programmed. On a parting word, what's his name? Manchester United's coach. What's his name
Ten
again?
Hag. Ten Hag.
Yeah, Eric Ten Hag. He says he's not getting fired. He's very sure of that in his press conference today before Arsenal game, because somebody asked him and he was like, "Oh, he's not getting fired. He knows the owners will not fire him." I don't know, whatever. But if he doesn't deliver the goods this season, I think he's gone. Because I know that Ratcliffe is intent on bringing Southgate and a different team to coach that team and a different set of people to coach the team. But I think Southgate only joins if England performs really well in the Euros. If not, he's not going to want to take that leap. Outside of that, guys, let's see how it happens. Starting tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Right, we'll connect again on Sunday after
Yeah.
the games,
Yes.
and it's a pleasure having you here, man. Thank you so much
Same
for
here.
being
Same
on.
here.
All
Thank you.
right, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Thanks,
all.
everyone.
Have a
Bye.
good weekend.